Steve Spiro, you're a mentor, you're a consultant, you're a business owner, but most importantly, you're a host of your own show and you're also a master connector.
Steve Spiro is one of my idols and I love listening to everything that he does. He's such a dynamic individual.
Some of the topics I really enjoy speaking on is how to really connect, whether it be in person or through social media. I love to lead with my weaknesses. I lead with, my vulnerabilities. It's fine because I'm okay with who I am. Number two is how to go from being inward focused, self-focused into others focused. Being willing to give and go out there and look to serve. That will attract the right things. Another one is on leveraging LinkedIn to really grow your business. You could reach a lot more people. You could broadcast a message to people that actually consented to want to know you. And then lastly, overcoming big obstacles.
I love sharing. I was a shy, introverted kid, picked on, bullied, learning disabled, dyslexic, really in a dark place. I was really in a box, in a shell, and I've been able to break out of that box. And so I love being able to inspire people and really help them. So the Master Connector was born.
The world is my networking event. Right? I meet people all the time. My goal is to meet 3 strangers every single day.
Steve is open to meeting you. You should set up a face-to-face with Steve. One little conversation can really change your life. So excited about today's show. We're going to get into this. I want to thank our sponsors. So our show is powered by Sales Connector and Jordan Mendoza's Blaze Your Own Trail Consulting. You see it in Steve's profile. You see it in mine. So I want to thank big shout out to our sponsors. Can't thank them enough. Salesconnector.com. If you want to find out more, you can check out in the comments. You can see that we have posted the link to our sponsors. Please, if you get some value from our show, please go through there. Connect. If you have questions around these sponsors, get a one-to-one scheduled with me or Steve. We'll be more than happy to connect with you. Thank you, Jermaine Houghton, for checking in. Super stoked about this show. He says Lewis is here. He's waiting. Steve, let's get into it. Let's go.
Absolutely. Thank you, Cameron. Great job with the video, sir, by the way. You're a magician. I love it. So appreciate that. So today we're going to talk about an interesting topic here. And so one of my favorite topics in general, when I do a lot of speaking, is on connecting authentically. And this is a little bit of a unique spin on that topic. And I'm going to kind of reveal a little bit of myself, tell you a little bit about who I was. Years back, I was very insecure. I was all sorts of busy trying to be somebody that I wasn't. I was always playing the comparison game. I was looking at other people and like, this person is better than me. And I felt insecure around them, right? I was ashamed of my flaws. And, I thought that, I know that people saw me and there was a feeling like maybe this guy's hiding something. I was creating a barrier in, when you looked at me and when I spoke to you, I was a bit edgy. I was a bit defensive. And honestly, it was hard for me to connect with people and them to connect with me. And that's where I was for a long time in my business career. I'm talking about that went from childhood all the way into my adulthood. And, being a double black belt, that kind of masked it, but it still was something that I knew I needed to get over. And then I went one day to the silent meditation retreat, and I'm not going to get into it. I've talked about that a few times on some of our broadcasts. But after just a day being there, I came to terms with that I'll always be a second class someone else. I realized that, being authentic was actually liberating and it changed my energy. And that's what we're going to talk about today is authentic energy. And the conclusion I had coming away from this whole experience, and this experience wasn't the secret. There was a lot of self-work leading up to that. But the experience kind of allowed me to believe that, hey, you know what? I'm okay. You're okay. We're all okay. It's okay. I know that sounds really fundamental, but it was deep for me, and it still is deep because everything's okay. And once I let go, it was amazing. So I'm going to tell you a quick story, and I think Holly has a story also she might share with us later. But I got a message back, and this is just one example of how leading with authentic energy and just being yourself can benefit you. Now, I don't know where this message is going to go, but I got a message back yesterday. It said, thank you for reaching out. It's nice to meet you virtually. We do have a couple of projects going on at the moment, and I'm not sure if this falls into your realm. And she went on going on with the work. So that part's irrelevant. But these would be great. These would be great topics we would like to speak about if you feel this is in line with your expertise, network, and connections. Thank you again. Here it is. Thank you again for your time and consideration. Your positive energy is transparent and bright, and that's the power of leading authentic energy. It's going to help you in all parts of your life. So I'm excited. We're going to have Holly. I know Cameron's going to go ahead and introduce her properly, but it's going to be an amazing show. Make sure you're in the comments. Make sure you're asking questions. We got some questions Cameron's going to be posting. We want to hear from you. You make the difference, audience, viewers. We really love you. We appreciate you. We want to hear from you. And I'll turn this over to my man, Mr. Cameron Toth.
Yeah, I'll just shout out Susan, who is always amazing. Susan Castelli checking in here from Ontario. She messaged Steve and I before the show saying concerned that she wasn't be here. Thank you so much, Susan, for all the passion you have for our show. All the energy you bring in the comments section. Want to shout out Cindy Cohn, who's bigging up my man Steve Spiro, shouting out other people, networking in the comments. That's what we want you to do. She says, I love Steve Spiro and Steve Spiro's talks. If I could talk, but I want to introduce our guest, the one that brings the authentic energy every time we've talked. We've had her on the Master Connection series and now our all new Master Connector show. So I'm going to bring her up on the screen, go through the bio a little bit here so you can get introduced to our friend, Hallie Avolio. Hallie is an affirmation queen. Now I'm doing affirmations with my kids at night now. It's a big deal. If you don't know what an affirmation thing is, definitely get into it. Hallie is an affirmation queen, a lover of core values, and a manifestation and self-love coach, helping women to love themselves unconditionally and create a life they love that is sassy AF and makes them feel amazing. As a wife of almost 20 years, mom of 3 kids, and former B2B sales executive, she intimately knows the struggle of feeling stuck and giving her love to everyone else but herself. She loves to help women get unstuck, find self-love, manifest their purpose, and live this life to the fullest. She is the founder and president of Sassy, Healthy, Fit, an organization created with the mission to teach as many humans as possible to love themselves unconditionally and to make this world a brighter place through each of our unique gifts. Please welcome to the show the amazingly healthy Hallie Avolio. All right,
Gosh, I love that. I love that.
So tell us just real quickly how you help people, Hallie, just real briefly, and then we'll jump into this authentic, right, energy conversation.
Yes, and I think I need to have you like in my back pocket, Cameron, doing my intro like all the time. That was so fire. That was amazing.
Appreciate
and that video, by the way, I'm shouting out the video too, because just like right from the moment this went live, I could feel a powerful energetic shift, which is what we were talking about today. And I do want to make a tiny correction, which is that I work with all people, men, women, whomever. So whatever your, gender of choice is, it's all good. And my intention is to help you shine your light brighter by standing in your purpose and understanding what your mission is, what your mission statement is, using affirmations, understanding your core values, understanding who you are authentically. And in Steve's story, he showed such vulnerability, which I really admire and appreciate, in talking about feeling this sense of comparison throughout so much of your life and not feeling enough, not feeling worthy. So many of us experience that. It is probably the most fundamental issue that humans face, is not feeling enough. And when we don't feel enough, we don't show up in our lives as big and bold and authentic as we want to. And so I feel so guided and driven and in my purpose of helping you show up more authentically in your life, whether it's in your business, whether it's in your personal life, your relationships, your relationship with money, your health, whatever it is. When you show up from a place of knowing you are enough and you can live your life authentically, literally you manifest everything you desire. And I've seen it for myself and I've seen it for my clients. And I am on a mission to change the world.
That is amazing. Thank you, Hallie. Steve, I know when we talk about this, and I mean, authenticity has been such a big part of my life over the last few weeks, because we've done a couple of different shows around the topic. The idea of showing up and being your true self. We talk about the go-giver on this show all the time. And you have this law of authenticity, and the truest, the best gift you can give is yourself, that law states. And I see it over and over again. People connect to people. I connect to people who I find real, that I don't feel like they're feeding me a line or, pulling the wool over my eyes. And so finding ways to show up and be that person. We were talking offline with Hallie before the show, and we were talking about platforms and, what's your main platform? And Hallie was saying TikTok. And I think one of the real powerful things with TikTok is that you kind of almost have to show up as yourself to do well on that platform. I think that's what people respond to. Yes, there's like the Jason Derulos that have whole teams that are creating videos, but I would say that's an outlier, not the norm. And there's whole communities, and Hallie was talking about the power of her community and how impactful that's been to her and what she's doing. That's a big, big deal. And so if you find a place, I mean, for Steve and I think LinkedIn is our home base and where we enjoy that authenticity. I got to say, I love, being able to dig into somebody's profile and right away knowing a little bit of their history, a little bit of background. So it's like you automatically like know some of the right questions to ask when you're meeting them and talking to them.
Absolutely. Yeah. So it's amazing. And Holly, you have such a great way about you. And that's why we want to have you on the show. You're the first right now for us to actually agree to have anyone back from the original series. So
Yay!
yeah,
I'm celebrating that.
We have a high regard for you for sure. That doesn't mean anyone else that we have on the show, we don't have a high regard, but we definitely want to have you on. But we want to dig into some questions here, and you opened with some amazing points, but let's dig into one of them first, which is of course the definition of defining kind of what we're talking about here. So can you just tell us, in your own opinion, what does authentic energy mean to you? And before you do, I'm just going to say, for me, what it means is it's being yourself. And when you are yourself, the energy, because what I kind of alluded to in my story, because I was blocking myself, because I was so afraid to make mistakes, afraid to look bad, it blocked me. And then that energy was stifled. When I released it and decided I'm going to be authentic, that energy exuded. And I tend to be a very low key guy in general, but the energy level went up for me. So it wasn't just the energy about the louder or more faster paced. It was also this sort of positive energy, this attractive energy, like you talked about before. There's the law of attraction, and that's what happened for me. And what sort of authentic energy means, it's when you become authentic, your energy shifts and you're able to attract what you're looking for. In the opening video, which happens to be my sizzle reel, it talks about you attract the right things. And that's a little vague, but yeah, the good things come to you. So curious your take on what authentic energy kind of really means to you.
I love that. And I agree with you 100%. And I want to start by reminding everyone that everything is energy. Everything in this universe is energy. I'm energy, you are energy, your phone is energy, a pen is energy, everything is energy. And everything vibrates at a different energetic frequency depending on what it is. So a static object like a pen, for example, has like minuscule amounts of energy, right? But if you are to take that pen in your hand and infuse it with your energy, and I'm a huge fan of journaling, so if anybody else is a journaling fan, I would love to know in the comments. But when I sit down to journal and I grab my pen and I infuse that pen with my energy and my intention, and I start to either free flow or write affirmations or write what I'm dreaming of or work out some sort of problem that I'm dealing with internally, I have now transferred a huge amount of energy into the pen, into my words, into my writing. And now that whole process is this massively energetic experience, right? So everything is energy. And likewise, every person that we encounter has an energetic force field. And I want to just address maybe a little bit of a misnomer about energy. oftentimes we think that for somebody to be high energy, they have to be loud and bubbly and, kind of like how I am. This is my natural personality. I love to be vivacious and fun and loud, and I'm a Leo and I can't help myself. This is just how I literally am 95% of the time. But not everyone is like this. And Steve, to your point about being a little more, maybe introverted or introspective, right? You have beautiful energy. You have beautiful high vibrational energy in its own way. So high vibe and positive energy doesn't mean that you have to be this, loud and over the top type of person. But sometimes we get confused about that and then we second guess ourselves. So that's where the authenticity piece comes in, is getting real and knowing who you are at your core. So when you know who you are at your core, then you know what your energy is about. What are your core values? I talk about this all the time from the very beginning of my work that I do with every client that I meet with everything that I teach, every workshop that I lead. We always start with core values, because when you can connect to your core values, you start to understand who you are, what you want, and what your purpose is. And those three questions are the guiding principles of my own work on myself, as well as the work that I do in my coaching, in my teaching. So being able to connect within to that purpose, to that desire, to that identification, and understand where your core values are, it helps you utilize your energy in the best way possible so that you can be authentic, you can show up and make decisions and communicate with other humans and do whatever you're called to do in a way that feels aligned with your truth.
I love that. You said a lot of great things there, but I want to talk about a couple of things. Number one, I mentioned in the opening a little bit about the comparison game, and you mentioned about, you don't have to be high energy as far as, loud or bold or whatever. And that, knowing that, has been so liberating for me as well, because that's not my core instinct. And there's been people in my life, including even the gentleman that I'm blessed to be mentored by. He's such an amazing human being. He's got passion. He's super funny. He's got, this boldness about him, and I'm nothing like that, right? I have my own strengths, but I always tried to be him. I tried to be like that, and I was always going to be a second class somebody else. I was never going to be him. So I'm loving the fact that, my energy can work even in my personality. I don't have to be somebody different. I could be me, and as long as I'm me, it's going to come through. So I love that.
100%.
Sure.
And if you're not you, it's also going to come through. I saw a question come up in the audience. Somebody said, I feel the insecurities. Absolutely. We feel energy, even if we don't have the language to put to why we feel a certain way or how to articulate what it is that we're feeling. We absolutely feel other people's energy. And when we're connected to our own authentic truth, then we know right away when somebody is not aligned with our energy. And it's not to fault the other person, right? We have to then make a decision. How do we move forward? Is this person somebody that I still want to connect with, even though their energy might feel off to me, but maybe there's some way that we can overcome this challenge or this obstacle, but maybe not. Maybe that's a decision where you say, you know what? I respect this person. I honor this person, but this person is not somebody aligned with me, and I'm going to go a different direction. And so that way you can feel comfortable with your decision, because you're coming from a place of authenticity as opposed to coming from a place of judgment. And that's really important, right? Is not judging yourself and not judging others, but about standing in your truth and owning it and not bending to accommodate other people. I can't tell you how often I talk about this.
Yeah, no, that's great. It's funny. It reminds me, I got a call from a good friend of mine who I'm blessed to really have a mentoring role with him. He's a younger man, about 31. And, he had this massive argument with his mom, who should be, right? Mom should be your biggest cheerleader. But in his case, my mom is, by the way, and I know she's on the broadcast. Shout out to Mama Spiro.
Yay, Mama Spiro.
But his mom, she is, right? What are your core values? But his mom wasn't, and he was expressing his goals and what he wants to accomplish, and she was just squashing it all. And he's like, and I said to him, listen, you can't change people. You can only pray for them. One of the things you mentioned earlier in what you were saying is, you said something about journaling. I love journaling. I have a gratitude list, and one of the lessons I learned early on is, put out good vibes, good energy, right? Pray for somebody or write good things, right? Write gratitude about the positive things about people. You're not going to be able to change them, but you could put out good energy towards them. And so when you are with them, they feel it. If you're always thinking negative thoughts about something, even if you don't express it, when you're around them, they're going to feel it. So always put out good vibes. Know that you can't say things that are going to change people, but you can make a difference. Again, we're not getting spiritual, religious, but prayer, gratitude, sending out good energy. Those are ways you can, make a difference for people and help the situation, right?
Absolutely. And by the way, I want to give a shout out to your mom because I love her questions that she's asking. If I could I answer them? Is that okay?
Yeah, please.
Awesome. So first of all, Mama Spiro, I want to just call you that because I love it. If you don't mind. So I think you asked me what my core values are, and I would love to share that. So my core values are authenticity. That's number one. So that is not a coincidence why we're having this conversation today. Freedom, fun, and love. And those are my 4 core values. I write them in my journal every single day, because I want to keep them top of mind, top of body, top of energy, so that I can be aligned with my core values all the time. And then you asked, does energy have words? That's a great question. I haven't really thought about, does energy have words? I would say words have energy so much. Like, we know how much power words have, which is why, as Cameron spoke about in the beginning, right, affirmations are so powerful. Because when you speak an affirmation, when you speak words of what you are desiring or what you are identifying as, or what you are aligned with, or what you give yourself permission for, or what you choose, those words have very powerful energy. That is the power of meditation, of journaling, of speaking your affirmations. So I'm curious to flip it. Does energy have words? And I would say that energy has feelings. I think that's my answer to that question. I think there are words to describe the feelings of energy, but I don't know that energy itself has words. But I do believe very strongly that energy has a feeling, has an emotion, has a vibration, right? It absolutely does. And to me, that's what energy is about. And the more that you tap into your body and you can embody what energy is about, when something resonates or when it feels off for you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Cameron, you've been quiet. What do you have to say about all this stuff?
No, I love that comment. And I'd say, just to add on to the energy thing, I mean, whether you're a speaker that's on stage or you're on a virtual presentation such as this one, or you're doing a face-to-face meeting, how you show up, that energy that you put out, right? It's such a big deal. I was just talking to my staff yesterday about this. I go through these psychological pieces, right? And whether you call it energy, whether you call it, right, there's these psychological components. We've talked about DISC, high energy, low energy, people focused, task focused, those kinds of things. And I think, there's a lot of different language. There's a lot of different words to spell all this stuff out. But the psychology piece of it, when I come on to a virtual presentation and immediately you see my smile, there's this psychological reaction subconsciously. Oh, this person likes me. This person's excited to meet with me. This person wants to be here. This person's in. Whereas if how you're showing up, your camera turns on into the meeting and you're fumbling, you're like, oh, that's sending a message as well. And is it the message that you want to send? And I think it's so strong when we talk about, needing to have more sales and needing to have better relationships, because you can apply it everywhere. When your spouse shows up, and I struggle with this at times, when my spouse comes in the door, do I stand up? Do I give her the happy dog treatment, or do I give her the I could care less cat treatment, right? Do I just expect that she's gonna come over and welcome me as she comes in the door to that, right? It's
Did Liz put you up to that? Did Liz put you up to that statement?
No, not at all. not at all.
That's absolutely 100%, So Hallie, I'm curious to know that, those are great points, Cameron, but what does it take to change your energy? I think we'd like to know. I'd like to know your take on that, and I know the viewers would like to hear that as well. What can you do to change your energy? What does it take?
Oh, I love this question because it's such a simple answer. If you want to change your energy, number one, you have to decide that you want to change your energy. Number one, you have to make either a micro or a macro decision. I want to change my energy. And then you have to do something. You got to do something different. You can't just sit in the same place and have the same thoughts and the same emotions and expect that everything is going to change, or somehow, some way, it's going to be different. So when I say you have to do something, I don't mean you have to get manic and start to, read every personal development book out there, sign up for a course, get a coach, all the things. If you want to do that, cool. But literally something as simple as taking a walk, as getting intentional with your breath, as changing the room that you're sitting in, as changing one small micro habit every morning, right? Maybe this morning when you wake up, you start by setting an intention rather than starting with your meditation. Maybe tomorrow morning you start with a journal prompt versus starting with a workout, right? So if you can change one thing, one small thing, that will send the signal within your mind and your body that you are ready to adapt, to make change, and change your energetic force field.
That's great. Great stuff. Yeah, absolutely. It's funny because, what you said reminds me of what I was told years back, which is you act yourself to conviction. When you just take action. Instead, if you want to be energetic, make a decision. And I know you have a lot to talk about setting intentions and so forth, right?
Mm-hmm.
But if you act and you say, okay, I'm going to be energetic, you just be energetic, right? If you just want to be random, it's not going to happen. But if you allow yourself, if you're purposeful about stuff, it'll happen for you.
Yes, and our minds are so powerful and so malleable. That's why there's so much validity to neuroscience and to how you can change your programming, right? Based on affirmations, based on how you make a decision, how you affirm what it is that you want to do. So if you want to do something and you start to say the words to yourself that I am doing this thing, and then you start to take aligned action to do that, right? Even subconsciously, by saying the affirmations, when you start to shift your subconscious programming, then your physical being will start to make intentional actions that are in alignment with what it is that you are reprogramming. It's wild how this works. But as soon as you set your heart on something, right, you've made the decision, it's aligned with who you are at your core in your authentic truth. You say the words so that you're affirming what it is that you desire. And now you're more compelled to take action, and you're going to start attracting situations, people, content, energy into your life that's going to support that desire, that decision. That's how the law of attraction works. It's not some weird voodoo magic. It's really starting with you aligning with what you want at your core, and then setting the intention, and you attract it into your life because you're now taking action aligned with that. That's why I love being a manifestation coach and really diving into this, because it's not like that we're casting spells, except for we are casting spells with our words.
Yeah, I love that. And I think the spell you cast, right, when you're authentic, right, when you're showing up and, your mess is your message. I mean, I know it's trite. I know it's been said before, but, when you're showing up and you're on full display, that piece of it. And I love Susan Castelli's comment, right? It's so difficult for myself to answer your question, Karen. I can't think of a fake example. And what I think of is you see fake all the time, because I think fake is a lot of people's default mode. Even for somebody like myself that understands authenticity, when somebody asks a question, how you doing? I think I typically go to the fake answer, which is everything's good.
Right.
It's a little bit more nuanced than that. And we don't answer the question fully because, I don't think Hallie's interested in that. I don't think, right. There's 1,000 things that we say to each other. But when we put ourselves and we're present and we answer those questions, suddenly things happen. And I have a great example of that from this morning. I was talking about just something that was happening in my day, and immediately, oh yeah, me too, and right. And so it went in, whereas it would normally be that like trite kind of conversation of like, yeah, I'm good, yeah, I'm good, or I'm just blah blah blah. It was connection. It was we're seeing something in the other person and having communication around who we truly are as human beings. I know we're at the end of our show, and I'm
Yeah, there's so many good things. Here's the point: connect with Holly. Make sure you're getting with her. Connect with her. Connect with us if you haven't yet. I'm sure most of you guys are connected with us if you're on the show. But this has been incredible. There's so many more layers we could dig in. You know, it's like an onion. You peel away, and then eventually you cry. Right? We could do a cry fest down the line here if we keep going down this.
Well, Hallie, you got to tell people what the TikTok handle is. Obviously,
Yes.
Everybody on here should be connecting to Hallie on LinkedIn. Her LinkedIn address is down in the information. What's the TikTok handle so people can see how to do TikTok the right way?
Yes, please do, at Sassy Healthy Fit. And if you get lost on that, just go to my website, sassyhealthy.fit. All the information's there, including if you go to my free resources page, so sassyhealthy.fit/free resources, you will see 111 journal prompts. Since we talked about journaling, I know you'll love them, and they will help you tap into your authentic self. So I would love to connect with you more. Please send me a message and let me know that you saw me on this amazing show today with Steve and Cameron. I love you guys. I'm so excited to be here today.
Yeah. So, and I just want to make sure everybody knows that the freebie is down in the comments. So it's on the screen right now. Tell them one more time what they can get if they click on that link.
You can click there. It's also on my website now, even easier, sassyhealthy.fit, and just go to my free resources page. It'll take you to the same place. Gives you 111 journal prompts to elevate your mindset. So you have no excuses. You could dive into your journaling so you can really connect with your most authentic self.
Awesome. I love that.
Great stuff.
I got to shout out this comment from Lewis. Give an example of fake. Cameron took lip service after a meeting. They say we should get a dinner or grab dinner, and it never happens. Listen, if you want to set up a dinner date with me, you open up your calendar and we set a date. None of this nonsense. Oh, we'll set it up. You know, it's never going to happen. I had the pleasure of setting up a date on the calendar with a longtime customer because we've been talking about getting together outside of work. And so you got to set that date, right? If that's your intention, get it done. Hallie and Steve, are we going to close this out? We're going to crush it?
Yeah, we're going to close out with crush it. So listen, guys, obviously amazing conversation, great scratching the surface conversation. You know what we need to do as a community. Our job is to be the light. I loved how that's why Hallie's back on with us, because what you talked about is being that light as well. And we just need to be, we're in a dark place. The world's hurting. We have some stuff going on over in Europe, and we need to be that light and just keep shining that light. So let's go out there. We have the rest of the week and the weekend to go out and crush it. So we're going to count down to crush it. And I know Hallie's an expert at this because she's been on our show before. So you ready? 5, 4,
3, 2, 1. Come on, say it with us. Crush it. Go out there and have an amazing week, everybody. Next week, Steve. Who we got on next week, Steve?
Oh, man, I don't have it queued up here, but I know it's going to be amazing. Hold on. Give me a second.
Episode 58 next week, next Wednesday, same bad time, same bad channel, 1 o'clock on Wednesday Eastern. I'm really excited about this new format of the show because we get to dig a little deeper with one person. Thank you to our sponsors again. I want to make sure that you get a chance to go check them out.
Jordan is going to be on next week.
That's right. Yeah, exactly. Jordan Mendoza, one of our sponsors.
Yeah,
from Blaze Your Own Trail, who's been optimizing our profiles, the master connectors and my own, and made such a tremendous difference in how we're able to engage with our posts and bring people into the community. He is going to be sharing some of his secrets next week, so you definitely don't want to miss that. Again, he is one of our sponsors, Blazer Trail, as well as Sales Connector with Wes Lemos, really being the engines that power this show. We're always looking for sponsors, so give us call if you're interested in doing that. Thank you so much. Hallie, I'm going to let you have the last word, a little nugget of knowledge, and then we will fade off into the sunset here.
I am going to leave you with my favorite affirmation that I say every day. It's sitting on my desktop, and it absolutely aligns with this show. Here's the affirmation. I am asserting the mastery of my real self. I am asserting the mastery of my real self. Say that every day and really connect to your authentic truth.
That was amazing. Thank you so much, Hallie. And we'll play ourselves off with the reel here. Have a great week, everybody, and we'll see you next week. Go out and crush it.
Steve Spiro, you're a mentor, you're a consultant, you're a business owner, but most importantly, you're a host of your own show and you're also a master connector.
Steve Spiro is one of my idols, and I love listening to everything that he does. He's such a dynamic individual.
Some of the topics I really enjoy speaking on is how to really connect, whether it be in person or through social media. I love to lead with my weaknesses. I lead with, my vulnerabilities. It's fine because I'm okay with who I am. Number 2 is how to go from being inward focused, self-focused, into others focused. Being willing to give and go out there and look to serve. That will attract the right things. Another one is on leveraging LinkedIn to really grow your business. You could reach a lot more people. You could broadcast a message to people that actually consented to want to know you. And then lastly, overcoming big obstacles.
I love sharing. I was a shy, introverted kid, picked on, bullied, learning disabled, dyslexic, really in a dark place. I was really in a box in a shell, and I've been able to break out of that box. And so I love being able to inspire people and really help them. So the Master Connector was born.
The world is my networking event, right? I meet people all the time. My goal is to meet 3 strangers every single day.
Steve is open to meeting you. You should set up a face-to-face with Steve. One little conversation can really change your life.